Verticalis, one sees the coronal suture between the two parietal bones and the frontal bone, the sagittal suture between the two parietal bones, the lambdoid suture between the two parietals and the occipital bone. Vertex is the highest point on the sagittal suture. Bregma is the junction of coronal and sagittal sutures. Here lies the anterior fontanelle at birth. Norma occipitalis. The skull as seen from the back is known as norma occipitalis. It shows the lambdoid suture, occipitomastoid suture and parieto-mastoid suture. The external occipital protuberance at the junction of head and neck is seen. It is also known as the inion. Extending laterally on each side are superior nuchal lines which give attachment to sternocleidomastoid laterally, which is known as the chin turning muscle, and trapezius medially, which is known as the shrugging muscle. The view of the skull seen from the front is known as norma frontalis. It shows the frontal bone, the two nasal bones, internasal suture, frontonasal suture. Orbits are present below the frontal bone on each side of the nasal cavity. Nasion is a point at the root of nose at the junction of internasal and frontonasal sutures. Supraorbital margin is above the orbit. It reveals supraorbital foramen or notch at the junction of medial 1/3 and lateral 2/3. Infraorbital margin formed by maxilla and zygomatic bones. Lateral orbital margin by processes of frontal and zygomatic bone. Medial margin by parts of frontal and maxilla bones. The external nose contains only two nasal bones. Rest are all cartilages. Maxilla contributes greatly to face. It shows infraorbital foramen, incisive fossa and canine fossa. Maxilla has 4 processes. These have been mentioned. The zygomatic bone lies below and lateral to the orbit, forming the prominence of the cheek. Mandible forms the lower jaw. Head of mandible forms important mobile temporomandibular joint with the temporal bone. There is chin in the center. Union of two halves of mandible, and mental foramen lies lateral to chin. Norma lateralis. This is the lateral view of the skull. It shows two temporal lines, superior and inferior. The superior line starts from the frontal bone, ascends on the parietal bone and fades away posteriorly. The inferior temporal line again starts from the frontal bone, runs across the parietal, turns downwards above mastoid process as supramastoid crest and continues as the posterior root of zygoma. The zygomatic arch is formed by zygomatic bone and squamous temporal bone. Posterior part of zygomatic arch is called zygoma. Zygoma is attached to squamous temporal by two roots. Anterior root passes anterior to the mandibular or articular fossa. The posterior root runs along lateral margin of mandibular fossa and above the external auditory meatus to get continuous with the supramastoid crest. Sometimes a small post-glenoid tubercle may be visible on the posterior margin of the mandibular fossa. The external auditory meatus. External auditory meatus is formed chiefly by the tympanic plate of temporal bone. Only a small part is formed by the squamous temporal bone. The suprameatal triangle is posterior-superior to the external auditory meatus. Its boundaries are supramastoid crest, posterior-superior margin of external auditory meatus, and a tangent to the posterior margin of the meatus. This triangle forms lateral wall of the mastoid antrum, the big ear cell in relation to posterior wall of middle ear. In case of severe infection and pus formation, the antrum is opened through the suprameatal triangle. The mastoid process. Mastoid process is a nipple-like projection behind external auditory meatus. It is not seen at birth but appears at about 2 years. The styloid process. Styloid process is a needle-like process 2 to 2.5 centimeter long, anteromedial to the mastoid process. Few muscles and ligaments are attached to the process. Temporal fossa lies on the lateral side of skull. Its upper limit is the superior temporal line. It communicates by a gap deep to the zygomatic bone with the infratemporal fossa. The temporalis muscle fills most of the temporal fossa. Infratemporal fossa. It lies between lateral pterygoid plate of the sphenoid and ramus of the mandible. The other 3 muscles of mastication and related structures lie here. Anterior to infratemporal fossa is the pterygopalatine fossa. Where the pterygopalatine ganglia and related structures are present. Norma basalis. The view of the skull from inferior or basal aspect is called norma basalis. It is divided into 3 regions: anterior part, middle part, and posterior part. The anterior part of norma basalis. There is an alveolar arch containing sockets for 16 upper teeth. Anterior 2/3 of hard palate is formed by palatine process of maxilla. Posterior 1/3 is formed by horizontal process of palatine bone. A cruciform suture is seen between these adjacent bones. The foramina seen are incisive foramen in the midline anteriorly with the right and left incisive canals, greater palatine foramen on the posterolateral corner, 2 to 3 lesser palatine foramina behind greater palatine foramen. Posterior nasal spine is seen in midline posteriorly. On each side, a little anterior to posterior nasal spine is a palatine crest. The middle part of Norma basalis. It comprises area from posterior border of hard palate to anterior margin of foramen magnum. Structures seen are posterior border of vomer, which separates the two posterior nasal openings. Behind is a broad bone formed by fusion of basi-sphenoid and basi-occipital. This is a primary cartilaginous joint and allows growth of bones. This part of the bone is marked by a pharyngeal tubercle in the median plane. The lateral area. Parts seen are pterygoid process and greater wing, both of the sphenoid bone, tympanic, squamous, and petrous parts of temporal bone. The pterygoid process is a single process at its attachment to the junction of body and greater wing of sphenoid. Inferiorly and posteriorly, it splits into a lateral pterygoid plate and a medial pterygoid plates. The two plates remain fused anteriorly and are separated from the maxilla by pterygomaxillary fissure. Medial pterygoid plate at upper end shows a scaphoid fossa. Lower end shows a pterygoid humerus. Lateral pterygoid plate gives origin to the pterygoid muscles from its medial and lateral surfaces. Greater wing of sphenoid lies lateral to pterygoid process. It articulates laterally with squamous temporal and medially with petrous temporal. At its posterior most point between these articulations is a sharp, small projection called spine of sphenoid. Spine of sphenoid is related to auriculotemporal nerve laterally and to cauda tympani nerve medially. In injury to the spine, both these nerves may get affected, leading to loss of salivation and partial loss of taste. The greater wing of sphenoid. The greater wing of sphenoid is pierced by foramen ovale. Main structure passing through this is the mandibular nerve. Posterior to that is the foramen spinosum, which gives passage to middle meningeal artery. Sulcus tubi is a groove between greater wing of sphenoid and petrous temporal bone. It lodges the cartilaginous part of auditory tube. The petrous temporal bone. Petrous temporal is a triangular bone. Its apex is medially placed. At its apex is the upper end of the carotid canal. The lower end of carotid canal lies on the inferior surface of petrous temporal. Thus, carotid canal runs medially and forwards within the rock-like petrous temporal bone. Foramen lacerum, about 1 centimeter long. Its lower end is bounded by petrous temporal. and basi-occipital